God's a social media demand. So we've got the back. He's given us reason, justification to make this a lethal event. I'm armed. It might be, my decision might be the easiest, quickest, best way for me to survive this is to get a pistol out and do some work, okay? So, here's a couple things that we need to think about when you do. So yesterday, when we were talking about the ground, we're talking about that number 2 position with that thumb-pectoral index, where the meat of the thumb is connected to the meat of the pectoral muscle. Because, again, like I was saying, there's no feeling between your body and this metal. You can't feel what the metal is doing. I can be here and think, oh yeah, I've got him. Because this, I mean, I'm close, right? I'm really close. This should be really good. And I go here, oh yeah, there's the little laser pointer, great. I do this. It's barely touching his t-shirt. And that literally, my difference between that was this, with my gun hand. Do you know that? Is there any way, especially in the heat of a violent criminal assault, that you have the cognitive ability to know that? It's just not. That's why we have sights on a gun. So at distance, this helps verify that index. When we don't have the sights, we have to have some other replicable index. And this is not it. This is not it. Because there's no way for me to tell what the gun is actually doing unless I have physical connection between my own. Because now I know when I do this, this tells me what this arm is doing, and it tells me what's going on here. So I have that thumb pectoral index, so I know now, especially when the wrist is locked, and I don't do anything. It's locked here. Once I go here, I know exactly where that gun is, where that weapon is pointed. That's my index. So now it's my turret. So I know every single time, especially when I put some work into it and I've shot from retention. Either you've done it live fire, or you've done it something like with a SIRT pistol where you can get that constant, oh yeah, got it. Okay? So, as I'm here, again, we talked about yesterday on the ground, I gotta get that elbow out on the ground as far as possible. So when we're standing, it's behind me and jacked up as much as possible. Like I said yesterday, if it's comfortable, you're doing it wrong. This should hurt. Mike Brown, the first guy who's really running me through this, it's like, it's me. I'm like, man, this is sore, dude. And he goes, I don't care, that just means you're doing it right. It has to be up. Now, here's what comes up. Here's what comes up. Oh, but Cecil, you're not shooting the main stuff. High thoracic, head, you're not making those shots. So why not do those? You have to have this downward angle anytime I'm in contact. Yes, would I like to hit here? Sure. But what are the problems if I try to do that? I'm doing this and I go, okay, I've got control. That laser went through, I'm hitting myself. That's actually happened numerous times to people. They've shot themselves. Even if you still survive the incident, putting a 147 grain hollow point through your hand probably is not conducive to nice life quality afterwards, or through your forearm, destroying stuff. So I have to control this guy, because if I don't at this point, because he has a say in the matter, if I say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot him here, and I'm going to pull my hand back so that way I don't shoot my hand. Awesome, great, I don't shoot my hand, but what's he doing? He has a say in the matter. I have not done enough to diminish his capacity to fight. So I have to always assume, again, he's bigger, stronger, tougher, faster, meaner, aggressive, has initiative, and he is still fighting. So I can't just think, oh, all right, I'm going to do this. I have to maintain control. So I need this downward angle to make sure that no matter what, I am not going to shoot myself. Is putting 4 or 5 rounds into his pelvic girdle as good as putting 4 or 5 rounds in the high thoracic or into the baseball in the cranium? No. Is it still going to hurt him a little bit? Is it going to start to diminish his capacity? Is it better than not doing it? Absolutely. You start putting a few rounds into a guy and you start doing some damage. Now, I do a couple. He's taking those hits. Now maybe it's going to be easier to disengage, make room, and then put the rounds where I want them to actually go, where they will end the fight. And that way, that entire process, I'm not going to shoot myself. I have to take that into consideration. Anybody ever really hurt their arm, hyperextended the elbow, broke it or anything? Sucks, huh? Separated this shoulder, dislocated this shoulder, it's excruciating. I've hyperextended my elbows in jiu-jitsu multiple times. It's excruciating. I can't imagine this and still continue to fight against a violent criminal attacker who's already made it a point to try to kill me. Maybe I can, but I'd prefer not to test it, okay? Here's the other thing about this, shooting from this type of position that nobody ever thinks about. We should, if we're responsible, we're gonna pick the right ammo for our carry gun, right? We're gonna follow, good idea is to follow what the FBI protocol is that meet those standards. Anybody remember what the standards are? It's got to penetrate 12 to 18 inches of ballistic gelatin to do damage. Because you want, you need that bullet to make sure it's going to go deep enough into somebody. Where is the bullet at its strongest? Where does it have the most energy? As soon as it leaves the muzzle. So I'm using a tool where it has the most energy, which means it's most likely to penetrate. Okay, if I'm shooting an HST that consistently goes 14, 16 inches in ballistic gel, and I'm shooting contact right here, what's this distance? Less than 18? So where's that round going? Where's it likely to go? Even a good hollow point. Through him. So let's say I shoot him right here. Oh, great, high thoracic, awesome. Where does that round go? Wherever it's going, and I have no say in the matter. If your kids are on the other side of that, if your spouse is on the other side of that bullet, it might be theirs. But if I do this, where is that round going? Where is every one of those rounds going? Whether they hit him or not, they're going somewhere down here. There is no way an innocent is going to get hit by one of those rounds, regardless of how he's fighting, regardless of what's going on. And I stand a good chance of putting multiple rounds into his body that will do something. Does that make sense? I know a lot of people will hurt. It's becoming more popular to teach that close contact type shooting, that entangled shooting. And people are, oh, this is how I do it. I do it like this, here, I'm shooting here, I get the gun up and go here. That's fine. But if you don't take into account shooting yourself or shooting others, I'm sorry, I think that is not particularly responsible for this, okay? Yeah, I want to save my life. I also don't want to take anybody else an innocent life as I go. I don't know if I can live with that. Yeah, I took this guy out, but I took out 2 kids too, whether they were mine or not, okay? So, this angle, we go to this. I decide, okay, the best thing to do from here is to put some rounds into him. There it is. As I do it, if I've got the waist lock, I'm going to roll my arm up high. Is my control as good? No. But all I need is just momentary to keep him here. Sorry. Just momentary, just enough so I can go 1, 2, 3, regardless of what's going on. Even if he starts fighting and moving, I can always start to do something like this. Okay? But this way, all I do is a simple. I can start putting rounds into him, and there is no way I'm going to shoot any part of me, and I'm not going to shoot anybody else. The only person getting shot is the bad guy. Does that make sense? I know the easiest thing for me to do is just teach, hey, get the back, get the gun out, and go pew, 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 pew. But I want you to understand why this is important. And you don't get tempted to go, yeah, I want to end the fight right now. There's specific reasons why we need that downward angle. Okay, make sense? All right, so you got training guns. If you have your own, you can certainly borrow mine. Just start on the back, start from the waist, and get used to doing that. Making sure you're going to that hard thumb, pectoral, index. Make sure that elbow's jacked up and you have that slanted downward diagonal angle. Okay, cool.